There is a reason you did not scroll past this. There is a reason your attention paused even for a second. There is a reason something inside you whispered, "Wait, listen." This is not coincidence. This is not random. This is not just another message passing through your screen. This is a summons. Right now. Yes, right now as you hear these words, there is a moment unfolding in the spiritual realm that has your name written all over it. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but something in your spirit feels it, doesn't it? That subtle pull, that quiet urgency, that strange feeling like time is moving faster than usual. Because it is. Heaven is watching. And tonight before midnight strikes, something is being decided. You felt it building for a while now. The restlessness. The questions that won't leave your mind. The moments where you felt like something was about to shift, but then it didn't. The feeling that something is pending, something is waiting on you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were on the edge of something important, but you couldn't explain what it was? Like something was about to change, like a door was about to open, like a decision, one single decision, could alter everything. That feeling you've been carrying, that tension in your spirit, that quiet pressure you can't shake. It's not anxiety. It's alignment trying to happen. Because right now, in a realm you cannot see, there is movement. There are records being opened. There are names being spoken. There are decisions being made that don't just affect today but eternity. And somehow your name has come up. You weren't supposed to ignore this. You weren't supposed to walk away from this moment. Because this is not just a message, this is a final call. There are moments in life when everything slows down, not physically, but spiritually. Moments when heaven leans in closer than ever before. Moments when the noise of the world fades just enough for something greater to speak. This is one of those moments. And the truth is, you almost missed it. You almost kept scrolling. You almost distracted yourself again. You almost chose comfort over calling. But something stopped you. And that something was not random. Because heaven has been trying to reach you, not just today, but for days, weeks, maybe even months. Through signs you brushed off. Through thoughts you ignored. Through feelings you couldn't explain. Through moments where you knew something deeper was happening, but you didn't have the words for it. This is the moment where it all connects. This is the moment where the pieces begin to make sense. Because tonight is not ordinary. Tonight carries weight. Tonight carries urgency. Tonight carries a window, a narrow, sacred window that does not stay open forever. And here's the truth you need to hear, even if it shakes you. Not everyone responds when heaven calls. Not everyone recognizes the moment. Not everyone stays long enough to receive what was meant for them. Some walk away. Some delay. Some say, "I'll come back later." But later is not promised in moments like this. Because when heaven calls like this, it's not casual. It's not optional. It's not just another opportunity. It's a test of awareness. A test of obedience. A test of whether you will stay or whether you will walk away from something that was meant to change everything. Right now, you are standing at a spiritual threshold. On one side, distraction, delay, and missed opportunity. On the other, clarity, alignment, and divine reward. And the difference between the two is what you choose to do next. This is not about fear. This is about awareness. This is about recognizing that something greater than you is reaching for your attention and asking one simple question: will you stay or will you walk away? Because before midnight something will be sealed, and heaven is watching your response. Type "I will not walk away" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010 is now activated around you. There is something happening right now that most people will never become aware of, not because it is hidden, but because they are too distracted to recognize it. While the world continues in its noise, its routines, its endless scrolling and constant movement, there is a stillness in the spiritual realm where something far more significant is taking place. And in that stillness, a record has been opened. A record that does not track your social status, your wealth, or your public image, but something much deeper, something eternal, something that carries weight beyond this life. It is the record of your alignment, your obedience, your awareness, and your response to moments just like this one. And right now, that record is not closed. It is being reviewed. You may feel a sudden seriousness in your spirit as you hear this, almost like the atmosphere around you has shifted. That is because something within you recognizes truth when it is spoken. This is not about fear, and it is not about judgment in the way the world defines it. This is about positioning. This is about readiness. This is about whether your name is being aligned with what heaven has already written about you. Because there is a difference between living and aligning, between existing and responding, between hearing and truly receiving. And this moment is drawing that difference into the light. There are things you have done that you thought were small, things you dismissed, moments you overlooked, decisions you made quietly without thinking they mattered. But in the spiritual realm, nothing aligned with purpose is ever insignificant. Every time you chose patience over reaction, every time you held on to faith when it would have been easier to give up, every time you felt something guiding you and you followed it even when it did not make sense, those moments were recorded. They were seen. They were acknowledged. And they are part of what is being weighed right now. Not to condemn you, but to confirm you. Not to reject you, but to position you for what is next. But there is another side to this truth, and you can feel it pressing gently against your spirit as you listen. There have also been moments where you ignored that inner voice, moments where you delayed when you knew you should act, moments where you chose distraction instead of alignment. And this is not being brought to you to shame you, but to awaken you. Because the record is not final yet. The page has not been sealed. There is still movement. There is still time. And that is why this message has reached you before midnight. Because something about your response in this moment is being considered. Imagine for a second that your life is not just a sequence of random events, but a series of checkpoints, each one carrying an opportunity to move closer to your true calling or drift further away from it. Tonight is one of those checkpoints, but it is not like the others. It carries urgency. It carries weight. It carries consequence in a way that your spirit can feel even if your mind is still trying to understand it. Because there are moments where heaven does not just observe, it intervenes. And when it intervenes, it does so with intention. Right now, your name is not being overlooked. It is being spoken. It is being considered. And the question being asked is not about your past alone, but about your present awareness. Are you listening now? Are you present now? Are you choosing to stay in this moment, or are you preparing to walk away like so many others do when things begin to feel serious? Because what separates those who step into their calling from those who miss it is not perfection. It is response. It is the decision to stay when it would be easier to leave. It is the willingness to pay attention when everything else is trying to pull you away. You may feel a pull right now, a quiet resistance, a voice that says you can come back later, that this is not urgent, that this can wait. But that voice is exactly what this moment is testing. Because if this were not important, you would not feel the tension. If this were not significant, you would not feel the weight. And if this were not real, you would not still be here listening, still feeling something deeper than curiosity holding your attention in place. The truth is, moments like this do not repeat themselves in the same way. They pass, and when they pass, they either leave behind alignment or missed opportunity. And you are standing right in the middle of that choice. The book is open, but it will not remain open forever. The review is happening, but it will not continue indefinitely. Here is a closing point, a sealing moment, and that moment is approaching with every second that moves you closer to midnight. This is not about being perfect. This is about being aware. This is about recognizing that your life carries purpose, and that purpose requires participation. You are not being asked to understand everything right now. You are being asked to stay, to listen, to remain present, and to not walk away from something that has the potential to shift everything. Because what happens next depends on what you choose in this moment. Type "My name is written in the comments if you receive this message." Blessing code 2020 is now activated. There is a battle happening right now, and it is far more real than anything you can see with your eyes. It is not loud. It is not obvious. It does not come with warnings that the world would recognize. But if you pause for just a moment and listen closely, you can feel it. That subtle tension in your spirit, that quiet pull in two different directions, that inner conflict between staying present in this moment and drifting away into distraction. That is not random. That is not your imagination. That is the evidence of a spiritual battle taking place over your attention, your focus, and ultimately, your destiny. Because right now, there are two forces moving at the same time. One is drawing you closer, pulling you deeper into awareness, urging you to stay, to listen, to receive what is being revealed. The other is pushing you away, whispering that this is not necessary, that you can come back later, that this moment is not as important as it feels. And the truth is, both of those forces are intentional. One is aligned with purpose, and the other is aligned with delay. One is trying to position you, and the other is trying to distract you. And you are standing in the middle of that tension, whether you fully realize it or not. You have experienced this pattern before, even if you did not recognize it at the time. Moments where you felt a sudden clarity, a sense that you needed to pay attention, to act, to shift something in your life, and then almost immediately, something pulled your focus away. A notification, a thought, a doubt, a sudden wave of tiredness, or even a feeling that you would deal with it later. And later never came the way you expected. That is how distraction works. It does not confront you directly. It gently redirects you until the moment passes and the opportunity fades. But this moment is different, and that is why the resistance feels stronger. Because what is at stake right now is not small. It is not casual. It is not something that can simply be postponed without consequence. There is a reason you feel this pull to stay, even as something else tries to pull you away. There is a reason your attention keeps returning here, even if your mind tries to wander. That is because something greater is anchoring you, something that understands the importance of this moment even if you are still processing it. Right now, there is movement in the spiritual realm on your behalf. There are forces aligned with your purpose that are trying to bring clarity, to open your awareness, to guide you into alignment with what has already been prepared for you. But those forces do not override your choice. They do not force your attention. They respond to your willingness to stay, to listen, to remain present in the moment you have been placed in. And that is why your response matters so much right now. At the same time, there are opposing forces that understand the value of this moment just as clearly. They know what is available to you if you remain focused, if you continue to listen, if you allow yourself to fully receive what is being revealed. And because of that, they are working just as actively to pull you away. Not through fear, not through obvious resistance, but through subtle distraction. Through thoughts that seem harmless, through impulses that feel normal, through the quiet suggestion that you can always return to this later. But you need to understand something clearly. Later is the language of delay. Later is the space where opportunity fades. Later is where clarity becomes confusion and urgency becomes forgetfulness. And that is exactly what this moment is pushing against. This is not about overwhelming you. This is about waking you up to the reality that your attention is one of the most valuable things you possess. Where you place it determines what you receive. Where you focus determines what you align with. And right now, your attention is being contested because of what is attached to it. You are not here by accident. You are not still listening by chance. You are here because something in you has chosen, even if quietly, to stay. And that choice is more powerful than you realize. Because every second you remain present, every moment you resist the pull of distraction, you are aligning yourself with something greater than what is trying to pull you away. You are strengthening your awareness. You are stepping into clarity. You are moving closer to something that has been waiting for your full attention. The battle you are experiencing is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something important is happening. Because moments that carry no significance do not come with resistance. Moments that do not matter do not create tension. The very fact that you feel this push and pull is confirmation that this moment carries weight. And the way you respond to it is shaping what comes next in ways you may not fully understand yet. So stay. Stay even when your mind wanders. Stay even when something tells you this is not necessary. Stay even when it would be easier to leave and come back later. Because this is not just about listening. This is about choosing alignment over distraction. This is about recognizing that your destiny is not shaped only by major decisions, but by moments like this, where you decide whether to remain present or to drift away. And right now, the decision is yours. Type "I stay focused" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 3030 is now activated around you. As this moment of decision settles into your spirit, understand this truth. Every time you choose to stay aligned with a message like this, you are not just receiving, you are becoming a vessel through which others can be reached. There are countless souls still wandering in distraction, still missing their moments, still waiting for a voice like this to find them in time. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are releasing light into places where darkness has delayed destiny for far too long. The word declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and this is that moment where your seed becomes someone else's awakening. I feel led to say this clearly. When you act now, you align yourself with the flow of divine multiplication, where what you release returns to you in greater measure. This is not casual giving. This is a prophetic act of obedience tied to impact beyond what you can see. As you give, heaven records not just your action, but your intention, and it responds with increase. Step into this moment and release your seed now. There is a quiet danger that most people never recognize until it is too late, and it does not come in the form of something obvious or alarming. It does not arrive with warning signs that demand your attention or force you to respond. Instead, it comes softly, almost gently disguised as something harmless, something reasonable, something that feels completely normal. It is the voice that says you can wait. The thought that tells you this moment is not urgent. The feeling that convinces you that you can return later, that nothing will change if you step away now. That is the danger of delay, and it is far more powerful than you realize. Because delay does not feel like rejection. It feels like postponement. It feels like control. It feels like you are still choosing to engage, just not right now. But what you are not being told in that moment is that some windows are not designed to stay open. Some opportunities are tied to timing, and once that timing passes, the same moment does not return in the same way. It may look similar later. It may feel familiar later, but it will not carry the same weight, the same alignment, the same urgency that it carries right now. You have experienced this before, even if you did not fully understand it at the time. Moments where you felt prompted to act, to respond, to pay attention, but you hesitated. You told yourself you would come back to it, that you would handle it when things were clearer, when you had more time, when you felt more ready. And then something shifted. The urgency faded. The clarity blurred. The moment lost its intensity. And what once felt important became something distant, something you barely remembered with the same conviction. That is not coincidence. That is the effect of delay. Right now, you are standing in a moment that carries a similar weight. But this time, you are being made aware of it in real time. You are being shown the importance of your response before the moment passes, not after. And that awareness is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. Because once you recognize the weight of a moment, you cannot pretend it is casual. Once you feel the urgency, you cannot claim ignorance. You are now aware, and awareness changes everything. There is a reason the idea of walking away feels heavier than it should. There is a reason it does not feel neutral, even though it might seem like a simple choice. That is because walking away from a moment like this is not just stepping back, it is stepping out of alignment. It is choosing delay over readiness. It is choosing comfort over awareness. And while that may seem small in the moment, it carries consequences that unfold over time, often in ways you do not immediately connect back to this decision. This is not about fear, and it is not about pressure. It is about truth. The truth that your life is shaped by moments of decision, not just by long-term plans or major actions. It is shaped by whether you stay when it matters, whether you listen when something deeper is speaking, whether you recognize the difference between a casual moment and a critical one. And right now, you are not in a casual moment. You may feel the pull to disengage, to shift your focus, to tell yourself that this can wait. But notice how that pull feels. It does not feel peaceful. It does not feel aligned. It feels like a subtle tension, like something is trying to move you away before you fully understand what is happening. That is not a coincidence. That is the exact point where delay begins to take hold. And once it takes hold, it becomes easier to justify stepping away, easier to convince yourself that it does not matter, easier to lose the clarity you have right now. But clarity is not meant to be postponed. Awareness is not meant to be delayed. When you are given a moment of understanding, it is because you are meant to respond within it, not outside of it. And that is why this moment feels the way it does. That is why it carries weight. That is why it holds your attention even as something else tries to pull it away. Because you are being positioned to choose differently this time. Walking away may seem like a simple action, but in a moment like this, it carries more meaning than you realize. It is not just about leaving a message or shifting your focus. It is about what you are choosing to prioritize. It is about whether you recognize the value of what is being presented to you right now. And it is about whether you are willing to stay present long enough to fully receive it. This is your opportunity to break a pattern, to respond in a way that aligns with where you are being guided rather than where you have been conditioned to go. You are not being asked to do something complicated. You are being asked to stay. to remain present, to resist the instinct to delay, and to recognize that this moment carries something that is worth your full attention. Because once this window closes, it will not close loudly. It closes quietly, and those who were not paying attention often do not realize what they missed until much later. But you are not being left unaware. You are being shown the importance now, while you still have the ability to respond within it. So do not treat this like something that can wait. Do not assume this moment will hold the same weight later. And do not underestimate the impact of what you choose to do right now. Because this is not just another moment. This is a defining one. Type "I choose now" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 4040 is now activated around you. There are moments in life that do not announce themselves as tests, moments that do not come with clear instructions or visible consequences, moments that seem quiet, almost ordinary on the surface, yet carry a depth that only your spirit can truly recognize. This is one of those moments. This is what is known as a silent spiritual test. Not loud, not dramatic, not something the world would identify as significant, but something that heaven measures with precision. And what makes it so powerful is that it does not rely on what you say, but on what you choose to do next. Right now, you are not being tested in a way that feels overwhelming. You are not being asked to make a life-altering decision in front of others. You are not standing in a situation where the outcome is immediately visible. Instead, you are being observed in stillness, in attention, in presence. You are being given a moment where your response is entirely your own, where no one else is influencing your choice, where the only voice you can truly hear is the one within you. And that is exactly what makes this moment so important. Because silent tests reveal what loud situations cannot. They reveal your true level of awareness. They reveal whether you are aligned internally, not just externally. They reveal whether you recognize the value of a moment without needing it to be validated by others. And most importantly, they reveal whether you are willing to respond to something deeper than habit, deeper than routine, deeper than comfort. You may not have realized it at first, but this moment has been building. The way your attention was drawn here, the way something inside you told you to stay, the way you felt that this was not something to ignore, all of that was leading to this point. Because a test like this does not happen randomly, is positioned, is intentional, and it arrives when you are ready to respond differently than you have in the past. Think about how many times you have encountered moments where you felt a subtle pull, a quiet nudge, a sense that something mattered more than it appeared, but you did not act on it. Not because you did not care, but because it did not feel urgent enough. Because it did not seem like it would make a real difference. Because you assumed there would be another opportunity later. Those moments were tests as well, but they passed quietly without you fully recognizing what they were. This time is different, because this time you are aware. You can feel that this is not just another passing moment. You can sense that there is something attached to your response right now, and that awareness changes everything. Because once you recognize that you are in a test, your response is no longer automatic. It becomes intentional. It becomes a choice that carries meaning. What makes this test silent is not that it lacks importance, but that it lacks external pressure. No one is forcing you to stay. No one is demanding your attention. No one is telling you that this moment will determine anything significant. But something within you knows that it does. Something within you understands that your response right now is shaping something beyond what you can immediately see. You may feel a slight tension, a subtle awareness that what you do next matters more than usual. That is not pressure, that is clarity. That is your spirit recognizing that this is a moment where alignment is being measured. not in a way that judges you harshly, but in a way that positions you accurately. Because every response you make either brings you closer to where you are meant to be or keeps you where you have been. The question is not whether you are capable of passing this test. The question is whether you recognize it while you are in it. Because many people only understand the significance of a moment after it has passed. They look back and realize that they missed something important, that they walked away too soon, that they did not give their full attention when it mattered. But you are being given something different. You are being given awareness in real time. And with that awareness comes responsibility. Not in a heavy or overwhelming way, but in a clear and direct way. You now know that what you do next is not neutral. You now understand that your response is not insignificant. You now feel that this moment is asking something of you, even if it is as simple as staying present, staying focused, staying aligned with what you are hearing and feeling right now. This is not about perfection. This is not about getting everything right. This is about choosing to respond with awareness instead of habit. It is about recognizing that you are being given an opportunity to align yourself with something greater, and that opportunity is measured not by what you say, but by what you choose. So do not dismiss this as something small. Do not assume that it does not matter. And do not allow yourself to slip back into the pattern of delaying what you know is important. Because this is a silent test, and the way you respond will not be announced, but it will be recorded. And what you choose in this moment will shape what comes next. Type "I respond" with awareness in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5050 is now activated around you. There is a voice that has been with you longer than you realize. A voice that has spoken in moments both quiet and unexpected. A voice that has never forced itself upon you, yet has never truly left you alone. It does not shout over the noise of the world. It does not compete with distraction. It waits. It whispers. It nudges. And for a long time, you have heard it, but you have not always recognized it for what it is. You have called it intuition. You have dismissed it as a passing thought. You have questioned whether it was real. But right now, in this moment, something inside you is beginning to understand that it was never just a thought. It was never random. It was a voice reaching for you. Think about the times when something told you to pause, to reconsider, to look deeper before making a decision. The moments when you felt a quiet resistance even though everything around you seemed to say move forward. The times when you sensed that something was not right, even when you could not explain why. That was not confusion. That was clarity trying to get your attention. That was guidance trying to position you. That was the voice that had been reaching for you all along. But there were also moments when that same voice urged you to step forward, to trust, to take action even when it did not feel comfortable. Moments when you felt a pull towards something unfamiliar, something that required faith instead of certainty. And what did you do in those moments? Sometimes you listened. Sometimes you hesitated. And sometimes you ignored it completely, convincing yourself that it was safer to stay where you were, to remain in what felt predictable, even if it was not aligned with where you were meant to go. This is not being brought to you to create regret. It is being brought to you to create recognition. Because that voice has not stopped speaking. It has not withdrawn. It has not given up on reaching you. It is still present, still consistent, still guiding, even in moments when you feel disconnected or unsure. And right now, that voice is stronger than usual, not because it has changed, but because you are finally in a position to hear it clearly. You may notice that as you listen to this, something within you is resonating on a deeper level. Not just understanding the words, but feeling them. That is because the same voice that has been guiding you is aligning with what you are hearing right now. It is confirming something you have always known but have not fully trusted. It is reminding you that you are not disconnected, that you are not lost, that you have been guided even in moments when you felt uncertain. The challenge has never been whether the voice is present. The challenge has been whether you trust it enough to respond. Because trusting that voice requires you to move beyond logic at times. It requires you to act without having every detail explained. It requires you to step into alignment before you feel completely ready. And that is where hesitation often takes over. That is where doubt begins to speak louder. That is where you begin to question what you already felt clearly just moments before. But here is the truth you need to understand right now. The voice you have been hearing is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to guide you. It is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to position you. And it is not something outside of you trying to control your life. It is something within you aligning you with a greater purpose, a greater direction, a greater clarity than what you can create on your own. Right now, that voice is asking you to do something very simple, yet very powerful. It is asking you to listen. Not partially, not casually, but fully. It is asking you to stay present long enough to recognize that what you are feeling is not random. It is asking you to stop dismissing what you sense as unimportant. And it is asking you to trust that this moment is connected to something greater than what you can currently see. You have spent time questioning whether you are being guided, whether you are on the right path, whether you are missing something important. And the answer has been present all along. You have not been without guidance. You have not been abandoned to figure everything out on your own. You have been hearing the direction, but you have not always trusted yourself enough to follow it. This moment is an opportunity to change that. To recognize that the voice you have been hearing is not something to question endlessly, but something to acknowledge and respond to. It is an opportunity to stop second-guessing what you feel clearly in your spirit. It is an opportunity to move from hesitation into alignment, from doubt into trust, from distraction into awareness. Because the voice is not going to stop speaking. But the clarity you feel right now is not something you should assume will remain if you continue to ignore it. The more you dismiss it, the quieter it may seem. Not because it has weakened, but because you have chosen not to listen. And over time, that pattern creates distance between you and the clarity you are meant to walk in. But right now, that distance is not there. Right now, you can hear it. Right now, you can feel it. Right now, you are aware of it in a way that is clear and undeniable. And that is why this moment matters. Because what you do with this awareness determines how clearly you will continue to hear that voice moving forward. So do not ignore it this time. Do not dismiss it as something small. Do not push it aside in favor of what feels easier or more familiar. Because this voice has been reaching for you, guiding you, positioning you, and preparing you for a moment exactly like this. And now that you hear it clearly, the question is not whether it is real. The question is whether you will respond. Type "I hear the voice" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 6060 is now activated around you. There are moments in life that pass without leaving a mark, moments that blend into the background of routine, where nothing feels particularly urgent, nothing feels particularly significant, and everything seems to move at a steady, predictable pace. But then there are moments like this one. Moments that feel different the second you step into them. Moments that carry a weight you cannot fully explain, a presence you cannot ignore, a sense that something unseen is shifting even if nothing around you appears to have changed. This is one of those moments, and the difference you feel right now is not imagined. It is real. and it is intentional. You may have noticed it already, that subtle shift in your awareness, that quiet seriousness settling in your thoughts, that feeling that this is not just another message, not just another passing experience. That feeling is not coming from outside of you alone. It is rising from within you, responding to something that is aligned with your deeper awareness. Because tonight is not like other nights. This moment is not like other moments. There is a convergence happening, a point where timing, awareness, and opportunity are aligning in a way that does not occur randomly. You have had many nights where you felt something was important, where you felt a desire to change, to focus, to move in a different direction. But those moments did not carry the same intensity, the same clarity, the same unmistakable sense that something is happening right now that cannot simply be postponed. What you are feeling in this moment is different because this moment has been positioned. It has been prepared. It has been aligned in a way that brings you to a point of decision, not later, not eventually, but now. There is a reason the idea of midnight keeps surfacing in your awareness. It is not just a time on a clock. It represents a threshold, a transition, a dividing line between what has been and what is about to begin. And moments that occur before a threshold carry a unique kind of weight. They are not just about reflection, and they are not just about anticipation. They are about preparation. They are about positioning. They are about making a choice before the shift happens, not after. Right now, you are standing just before that threshold. You are in the space where something can still be aligned, where something can still be secured, where something can still be positioned in your favor. And that is why this moment feels the way it does. That is why it carries urgency. That is why it feels like something is pressing you to pay attention, to stay present, to not treat this lightly. You may be tempted to compare this moment to others, to tell yourself that you have felt something similar before, that this is just another instance of temporary clarity that will fade with time. But if you pay attention closely, you will notice that this is not the same. There is a depth to this moment that goes beyond emotion. There is a steadiness to it that does not fluctuate. There is a clarity to it that does not feel forced or imagined. It feels anchored, as if something greater than your immediate thoughts is holding your attention in place. This is what happens when a moment carries real weight. It does not need to convince you loudly. It does not need to create chaos to get your attention. It simply holds you, draws you in, and makes it difficult to ignore what you are feeling. And that is exactly what is happening right now. You are being held in a moment that is asking for your awareness, your presence, and your response. The question is not whether this moment is important. The question is whether you are willing to recognize its importance while you are still in it. Because the value of a moment like this is not just in experiencing it, but in responding to it correctly. It is in choosing to treat it with the attention it deserves, rather than allowing it to pass as if it were no different from any other time. There is something being positioned for you right now, something that is connected to your awareness, your readiness, and your willingness to remain present. And that positioning does not happen automatically. It responds to your engagement. It responds to whether you stay or whether you drift away. It responds to whether you recognize that this moment is different, or whether you treat it as something that can be revisited later. You may not fully understand everything that is happening, and that is not required. You do not need to have every detail explained to recognize that this moment carries significance. You only need to be aware enough to know that what you are feeling is not ordinary, and that what you choose to do right now matters more than usual. This is the weight of the moment. Not something heavy in a negative sense, but something meaningful, something that carries purpose, something that has the potential to influence what comes next in ways you may not yet see. and you are being given the opportunity to respond to it while it is still present, while it is still active, while it is still open. So do not treat this like just another passing experience. Do not assume that it will hold the same clarity later. And do not underestimate the significance of what you are feeling right now. Because tonight is different, and the way you respond to this moment will determine what that difference means for you. Type "I recognize this moment" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7070 is now activated around you. There is something you cannot yet see, something that has already begun to move, something that has already been set into motion before you even became aware of this moment. It is not visible to your eyes, and it does not announce itself in ways the world would easily recognize. But it is real, and it is active, and it is connected directly to your decision to remain here, to stay present, to not walk away from what is unfolding right now. Because while you have been focused on the urgency of this moment, there has also been something else happening quietly behind the scenes. A release, a positioning, a preparation of something that has your name attached to it. This is not a random reward. This is not something that appears without reason. This is something that has been building over time, something that has been prepared through moments you may have forgotten, through decisions you did not realize mattered, through patience you held when it would have been easier to give up. It is the result of alignment, of awareness, of small responses that added up over time. And now, it is reaching a point where it is ready to be released. But here is the part you need to understand clearly. Not every blessing is automatic. Not every opportunity is simply handed over without participation. Some things require presence. Some things require awareness. Some things require that you stay long enough to receive them. And this is one of those moments. Because what is being released right now is not something that will chase you if you walk away. It is something that responds to your willingness to remain aligned in the moment it is given. You may feel a sense of anticipation building, even if you cannot fully explain it. That feeling is not imagination. It is your awareness beginning to align with what is being prepared. It is your spirit recognizing that something is unfolding, something that carries value, something that is not meant to be missed. But at the same time, you may also feel a subtle pull to disengage, a thought that says you can come back later, that you can revisit this when it is more convenient. And that is exactly where the separation happens. Because the blessing that is being released is not tied to convenience. It is tied to timing. It is tied to presence. It is tied to whether you are willing to stay when it matters, not just when it is easy. And this is where many people lose what was meant for them. Not because they were not worthy, not because they were not prepared, but because they were not present when the moment arrived. They stepped away, thinking they could return later, not realizing that the opportunity was designed for that specific point in time. Right now, you are being given a chance to do something different. To recognize that what is happening is not just about awareness, but about reception. To understand that staying is not passive, it is active. It is a choice that keeps you aligned with what is being released, a decision that allows you to receive what has already been prepared. There is something powerful about remaining in a moment when everything else is trying to pull you away. It strengthens your focus. It sharpens your awareness. It aligns you with something greater than your immediate thoughts. And it places you in a position where you are ready to receive, not just to observe. Because there is a difference between seeing an opportunity and actually receiving it. And that difference is often determined by whether you stayed long enough to step into it. You may not know exactly what this blessing looks like yet. You may not have a clear picture of how it will unfold or when it will fully manifest. But you can feel that it is real. You can sense that it is close. You can recognize that this moment is connected to something beyond what you can currently see. And that is enough, because you are not being asked to understand every detail. You are being asked to remain aligned long enough for it to reach you. This is not about forcing anything to happen. This is about allowing what is already in motion to meet you where you are. And that only happens when you stay present, when you resist the urge to walk away, when you recognize that what is happening right now carries more value than what is trying to distract you. So do not treat this moment lightly. Do not assume that what is being released will wait indefinitely. And do not convince yourself that you can return to this later and receive the same thing in the same way. Because what is being given now is connected to now. It is aligned with this moment, with this awareness, with this decision to stay. And if you remain, if you continue to listen, if you choose presence over distraction, you will not just witness what is unfolding. You will receive it. Type "I receive what is mine" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8080 is now activated around you. As you stand in this moment of receiving, understand that every blessing released into your life carries the power to overflow into the lives of others. When you choose to support this mission through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link provided in the description and QR code, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into a river of revelation that reaches souls who are still searching for their moment of clarity. The word speaks, "Whoever sows generously will also reap generously." And this is not just a verse. It is a living promise being activated as you respond. I feel this strongly for you. As you release your seed, heaven marks your obedience and multiplies your harvest in ways you cannot predict. This is not a passive act. It is a prophetic response tied to timing, just like the moment you are in now. Do not delay what you feel led to do. Step forward, release your offering, and become part of the light that awakens others. There is a pattern that has followed you longer than you may realize, a pattern that does not reveal itself clearly in the moment but becomes obvious when you look back. It is the pattern of interruption just before progress, the pattern of distraction right before clarity, the pattern of resistance appearing at the exact moment when something meaningful is about to shift in your life. You have experienced it before. Moments where you were on the verge of understanding something important, on the edge of making a decision that would move you forward, on the brink of stepping into something new, and suddenly, something pulled you away. Something disrupted your focus. Something made you question what you were just about to do. That pattern is not random. It is not coincidence. It is strategic. Because right before a breakthrough, there is often a final attempt to stop it. Not in an obvious, dramatic way, but in a subtle, almost unnoticeable shift that redirects your attention at the most critical point. And what you are experiencing right now carries the same signature, the same subtle pull, the same quiet suggestion that this is not as important as it feels, the same thought that you can step away and return later without losing anything. But this time, you are aware. You can feel the difference between genuine peace and quiet distraction. You can sense that something is trying to interfere with your focus at the exact moment when your awareness is increasing. And that awareness is what changes everything. Because once you recognize the pattern, it loses its power to operate unnoticed. Right now, there is a reason your mind may be trying to wander. There is a reason random thoughts may be appearing, trying to pull your attention in different directions. There is a reason you may suddenly feel the urge to check something else, to shift your focus, to step away even though nothing urgent has actually happened. That is not coincidence. It is the final attempt to disconnect you before you fully receive what is being revealed. You have to understand something clearly. Breakthrough does not always come with a dramatic moment. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in a shift of awareness, in a moment of clarity, in a decision to stay present when you would normally leave. And because it is subtle, it is often missed. Not because it was not available, but because attention was redirected at the exact moment it was about to be received. This is why this moment feels the way it does. It is not just about what you are hearing. It is about what you are resisting. It is about the choice to remain focused even when something is trying to pull you away. And that choice is what determines whether you step into what is being prepared or whether you miss it by just a few moments. There is something about to shift, something that has been building, something that has been lying beneath the surface. You may not see it yet, but you can feel that you are close to something. That feeling is not imagination. It is the signal that you are approaching a point of clarity, a point of understanding, a point where something becomes clear in a way that changes how you move forward. And right before that point, distraction always becomes stronger. This is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because you are doing something right. The closer you get to alignment, the more resistance appears, not to stop you forcefully, but to redirect you subtly, to make you step away just long enough to miss the moment, to convince you that this can wait, that this is not urgent, that this is just another passing experience. But you know it is not. You feel that it is not. That is why you are still here. That is why something in you is choosing to stay, even as something else tries to pull you away. Because your awareness is stronger than the distraction this time. Your recognition is clearer than the pattern that has tried to repeat itself in the past. And that is exactly what is needed in this moment. You are not being asked to fight anything aggressively. You are being asked to stay, to remain present, to not allow your attention to be redirected at the exact moment it matters most. Because sometimes, the greatest victory is not in doing something dramatic, but in refusing to be moved when everything is trying to move you. This is that moment for you. The moment where the pattern can either repeat or be broken. The moment where you either follow the familiar pull of distraction or choose a different response. The moment where you either step away like before or remain present long enough to receive what is waiting for you. You are closer than you think. Closer than you have been in a long time. And that is why this resistance feels stronger. Because what is ahead is not small. It is not insignificant. It is something that has the potential to shift your direction, your clarity, your awareness in a way that will affect what comes next. Do not let the final attempt succeed. Do not allow yourself to be pulled away now. Do not convince yourself that this moment can be revisited later in the same way. Because this is not just another moment. This is the moment before breakthrough. And what you do right now determines whether you step into it or step away from it. Type "I will not be distracted" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9090 is now activated around you. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey where awareness alone is no longer enough, where understanding must move into action, where what you feel must translate into what you choose. You have reached that moment now. Up until this point, you have been listening, recognizing, becoming aware of what is happening around you and within you. But now, something deeper is being asked of you. Not something complicated, not something overwhelming, but something precise. Something intentional. Something that carries the power to seal what has been opened and secure what has been prepared for you. This is what is known as the seal of obedience. It is not a dramatic gesture. It is not something the world would necessarily notice. It is not about perfection or performance. It is about alignment. It is about the moment where you take what you have heard, what you have felt, what you have recognized, and you respond to it with intention. Because until that response happens, everything remains open. Everything remains in motion, but not yet secured. It is like standing at a doorway that has been opened for you, knowing that something is on the other side, but not stepping through. The opportunity is there, but it is not yet claimed. Obedience is what moves you through that doorway. And this is where many people hesitate. Not because they do not understand, but because obedience requires trust. It requires you to act without needing every detail confirmed. It requires you to respond even when the outcome is not fully visible. It requires you to move forward based on what you know internally, rather than what you can prove externally. And that is where doubt often tries to intervene. That is where the mind begins to question what the spirit has already recognized as true. But understand this clearly. The seal of obedience is not about doing something extraordinary. It is about doing what is being asked of you in this moment. It is about choosing to stay when you could leave. It is about choosing to listen when you could ignore. It is about choosing to respond when you could delay. It is about making a decision that aligns with what you have already felt, rather than returning to what is comfortable or familiar. Right now, something has been opened for you. You have been brought into awareness. You have been positioned in a moment that carries significance. You have felt the weight of it, the urgency of it, the importance of it. And now, the question is not whether it is real. The question is whether you will seal it with your response. Because without that response, the moment remains incomplete. There is a difference between witnessing something and stepping into it. There is a difference between hearing something and acting on it. There is a difference between recognizing a moment and securing it. And that difference is defined by obedience. Not forced, not pressured, but chosen. Freely, intentionally, and with awareness of what is at stake. You may feel a quiet prompting right now, a sense that there is something you are meant to do, something small yet significant, something that aligns with everything you have just experienced. That prompting is not random. It is specific to you. It is the way this moment is being translated into action in your life. And it may not look the same as it would for someone else, but for you, it carries meaning. It carries alignment. It carries the ability to take what is open and make it yours. Do not overlook that prompting. Do not dismiss it because it seems simple. Do not delay it because you think it can be done later. Because the power of obedience is not in its size, but in its timing. When you respond at the right moment, even the smallest action carries weight. It becomes a point of alignment that locks something into place, that secures what was previously in motion. This is the moment where you move from awareness into participation. This is the moment where you shift from observing to receiving. This is the moment where what has been prepared begins to become what is yours. But it requires your response. It requires your willingness to act on what you have felt. It requires your decision to trust that this moment is not random, that it is not casual, that it is not something to be postponed or ignored. Because once obedience is applied, something changes. The uncertainty begins to settle. The openness begins to close into clarity. The movement begins to stabilize into direction. And what was once a possibility becomes something secured. You are closer than you realize to locking in what has been building for you. You are standing at the point where everything can shift from potential into reality. And the only thing separating those two states is your response in this moment. So do not hesitate now. Do not second-guess what you already know. Do not allow doubt to interrupt what has been clearly revealed to you. Because this is the seal. And what you do right now will determine whether what has been opened becomes what is secured. Type "I walk in obedience" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010X is now activated around you. There is a moment just before a shift happens that feels almost suspended in time, a space where everything is still in motion but not yet visible, where something is about to change but has not yet revealed itself fully. That is where you are right now. You are standing in the final moments before a shift, and what makes this moment so powerful is not just what is about to happen, but what is being determined right now based on your response. Because the shift that is approaching is not random. It is not automatic. It is connected to alignment, and alignment is always influenced by choice. You may not see anything changing around you yet, and that can make it easy to question whether anything is really happening. But shifts do not begin in the visible. They begin beneath the surface, in decisions, in awareness, in moments where something internal moves into position before anything external reflects it. And right now, that internal movement is taking place. You can feel it in the way your attention has been held, in the way your awareness has sharpened, in the way this moment has felt different from the beginning. This is not just about understanding anymore. This is about transition. Because once a shift begins, it carries you forward whether you are fully prepared or not. And the preparation for that shift does not happen after it starts. It happens before. It happens in moments like this, where you are given the chance to align yourself with what is coming so that when it arrives, you are not caught off guard, you are not out of position, and you are not disconnected from what is meant for you. Right now, something is being set into place. Not something distant, not something far away in time, but something that is directly connected to where you are and what you have just experienced. And the key to stepping into that shift is not waiting for it to happen. It is responding before it fully reveals itself. This is where many people miss what was meant for them. They wait for confirmation. They wait for visible change. They wait for something undeniable to happen before they decide to respond. But by the time everything is obvious, the moment of alignment has already passed. The shift has already begun, and those who did not prepare for it find themselves reacting instead of stepping into it. You are not being positioned to react. You are being positioned to step into what is coming with awareness. That is why this moment feels the way it does. That is why it carries urgency. That is why it has held your attention. Because this is not just about now. This is about what is about to follow. This is about what is already forming, already aligning, already preparing to move forward in your life. You may feel a sense of anticipation, a quiet awareness that something is about to change even if you cannot describe what that change will look like. That feeling is not uncertainty. It is recognition. It is your awareness connecting with something that is already in motion. And that connection is what allows you to move with the shift instead of being caught behind it. The response you give in this moment is what determines how that shift meets you. If you remain present, if you stay aligned, if you continue to listen and respond with intention, the shift will feel like movement forward. It will feel like clarity, like direction, like something falling into place in a way that makes sense even if it seemed uncertain before. But if you step away, if you disengage, if you treat this moment as something that can be revisited later, the shift will still happen, but it will not feel the same. It will feel like something you are trying to catch up to instead of something you are moving with. That is the difference your response makes. And this is the moment where that difference is decided. You are not being asked to control what is coming. You are being asked to align with it. You are not being asked to understand every detail. You are being asked to trust what you have already recognized. You are not being asked to force a result. You are being asked to respond in a way that positions you to receive it. Because once midnight passes, the shift will begin to reveal itself. And when it does, it will not wait for you to decide if you are ready. It will meet you exactly where you position yourself in this moment. That is why this is not something to delay. That is why this is not something to take lightly. Because you are not just experiencing a message. You are standing at the edge of a transition. And the way you respond right now determines how that transition unfolds for you. So stay aligned. Stay present. Stay aware. Because the shift is closer than you think. Type "I am ready for the shift" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1111X is now activated around you. This is the final moment. Not in a dramatic sense, meant to create fear, but in a precise, spiritual sense that carries truth. You have been led step by step, layer by layer, into awareness, into understanding, into recognition. You have felt the weight of this moment, the urgency of it, the significance of it. And now, everything comes down to this point. Not tomorrow. Not later. Not when it feels more convenient. But now. Because every moment like this reaches a conclusion. Every opening eventually closes. Every invitation requires a response. And what makes this moment so important is not just what has been revealed, but what is being asked of you right now. You are no longer in a place of questioning whether this matters. You know it does. You feel it does. And that clarity is what makes your decision powerful. There are always two paths in moments like this. One is the path of continuation, where you take what you have experienced and you carry it forward, where you allow this moment to shape your direction, your awareness, your alignment. The other is the path of release, where you step away, where you allow this moment to fade into memory, where you return to what is familiar without allowing anything to truly change. Both paths are available. Both paths are real. But only one of them leads you into what has been prepared for you. This is not about pressure. This is about truth. Because the invitation being extended to you right now is not forced. He has offered it. It is placed in front of you with clarity, with awareness, with everything you need to recognize its value. And the only thing left is your response. Not what you think about it later. Not how you reflect on it tomorrow. But what you choose in this moment while everything is still clear. While everything is still present. While everything is still aligned. You may feel the weight of this decision, not in a heavy or overwhelming way, but in a real and grounded way. A sense that what you choose now carries meaning beyond what you can immediately see. And that feeling is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to confirm that this moment is real, that it matters, that it is not something to dismiss or overlook. There is a reason this has come to you before midnight. There is a reason it has held your attention. There is a reason you have continued to listen, continued to stay, continued to move forward through each part of this message. It is because something within you recognizes that this is not random. It is because something within you knows that this is connected to something greater, something that goes beyond a single moment and into the direction of your life. And now, the invitation is simple, but it is powerful. Choose to stay aligned. Choose to carry this awareness forward. Choose to not let this moment pass without allowing it to shape you. Because what you choose now does not just affect this moment. It affects what follows. It affects how the shift meets you. It affects how what has been prepared becomes what is received. And while you may not see all of that immediately, your response sets it into motion. There will always be opportunities to ignore, to delay, to return to what is comfortable. But moments like this do not come with the same clarity every time. They do not come with the same alignment, the same positioning, the same direct awareness. And that is why this is a final call. Not because everything ends here, but because this particular window, this particular alignment, this particular moment of clarity will not remain open indefinitely. You are not being asked to be perfect. You are being asked to be present. You are not being asked to understand everything. You are being asked to respond to what you already know. And you are not being forced into anything. You are being invited into something. Something that has been prepared. Something that hath been waiting. Something that is ready to meet you the moment you choose it. So do not walk away now. Do not treat this as something ordinary. Do not let this moment fade without allowing it to become something real in your life. Because this is the point where everything comes together. This is the moment where the call becomes a choice. And your choice determines what happens next. Type "I choose alignment" now in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1212X is now activated around you. As this final call settles into your spirit, understand this deeply. When you respond to moments like this, you are not only securing your own alignment, you are helping open doors for others who are still searching for theirs. Every seed you release through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code becomes a light placed in someone else's darkness, a spark that awakens a soul before their moment passes. The word declares, "Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And this is not a distant promise. It is a living flow activated through obedience. I sense this strongly. As you act now, you are stepping into a divine exchange where your giving becomes a gateway for multiplied favor and clarity in your own life. This is not support. This is participation in a mission that reaches beyond what you can see. Do not wait. Step into this moment and release what you feel led to give now.